The world was my oyster, and I was its king. From my glass tower, I didn't just see the city, I owned it. Every person was a pawn, every deal a conquest. I yelled, I slammed phones, I crushed anyone who stood in my way. Life was a game, and I was winning, or so I thought. That night, the rain poured down, mirroring the storm inside me. I was racing through the city in my Lamborghini, a black beast slicing through the darkness, when a fire ignited in my chest. It wasn't the burn of ambition. It was a searing, crushing pain that stole my breath. I swerved, the car screeching to a halt. Stumbling out into the torrential rain, the world spun. The cold, wet pavement met my face, and the city lights blurred into nothing. Then, darkness. Faintly, I heard sirens, panicked voices. A jolt, like lightning, shot through my body. Another one, a long, unending beep echoed in the void. And then, silence. Everything faded to white. I was floating, weightless. Below me, I saw the flashing lights of the ambulance, a tiny, frantic scene on a dark, wet street. I saw my own body, lifeless on a gurney. But I felt no attachment, no panic. Just a gentle pull upward. I drifted through the clouds, which parted like a velvet curtain, revealing an endless, stardusted cosmos. In the distance, a tunnel of swirling darkness beckoned, but it wasn't frightening. At its very end was a light, a brilliant, warm, white gold radiance that pulsed with a life I'd never known. The faint, rhythmic beat of a heart faded away, replaced by a sound so beautiful it defies words, a chorus of voices, a symphony of pure love and peace. The light enveloped me, and I found myself standing in a field. The grass wasn't green. It was spun gold, shimmering under a light that came from everywhere and nowhere at once. The air itself hummed with a love so profound it felt like coming home after a lifetime away. And then I saw him. He walked toward me, not with grand authority, but with the quiet grace of a gentle friend. He had long, brown hair, eyes that held all the compassion in the universe, and a smile that instantly healed a part of me I never knew was broken. It was Jesus! He didn't say a word at first. He just walked beside me, his presence a balm on my frantic, shattered soul. He placed a hand on my shoulder, and a warmth spread through me, melting decades of ice. In that single touch, I felt forgiven. I felt known. I felt loved. Tears I hadn't shed since I was a boy began to stream down my face, not of sadness, but of overwhelming, gut-wrenching relief. Then, without a sound, the show began. Not on a screen, but all around me, in vivid, three-dimensional reality. My life! I saw myself, a shark in a tailored suit, closing million-dollar deals, my face a mask of ruthless ambition. I saw my wife, her face stained with tears, pleading for a moment of my time. As I brushed past her, my eyes glued to a stock ticker. I relived the moment. I stepped over a homeless man, shivering on the sidewalk, without a second glance. Annoyed that he was in my path, I saw the gleam of new yachts, the popping of champagne corks, the lavish parties. And woven between these scenes of opulence, I saw the faces of my employees, their shoulders slumped with exhaustion and worry. There lives a constant struggle while I amassed a fortune. The montage of my selfishness, my pride, my greed, played out in excruciating detail. When it was over, the silence was deafening. Jesus looked at me, his eyes not with judgment, but with a deep, sorrowful tenderness. He asked a simple question, his voice a soft whisper that echoed louder than all the thunder in the world. Did you learn to love? The question pierced my soul. I hadn't. I had learned to acquire, to conquer, to possess. But to love? The realization hit me like a physical blow. I fell to my knees, the golden grass cool against my skin, and I sobbed. Not for my lost life, but for the life I had utterly wasted. As I knelt there, broken, Jesus showed me another vision. He gestured, and mountains of my money appeared. All the cash, the stocks, the gold bars! Then I watched as it all turned to dust, blowing away on a gentle breeze. My mansions, my cars, my collection of worldly treasures, they burst into flames, crumbling into ash until nothing remained. But then, in the darkness, tiny lights began to glow, like diamonds scattered across a black velvet cloth. I saw a moment ID long forgotten, giving a lost child $1 for an ice cream. It shone brightly. I saw myself holding a door for an elderly woman. It glowed. These small, insignificant acts of kindness, moments I hadn't even registered, were the only things that endured. Then, he showed me something that shattered my entire worldview. A poor, elderly widow, her clothes worn and patched, placing her last $5 into a church offering basket. That simple act of sacrifice, of giving from a place of lack, but with a heart full of love, erupted in a blinding flash of light, outshining my entire burned-out empire. In that moment, I understood. Jesus knelt beside me, the light of his compassion washing over me. He pulled me into an embrace, and for the first time in my life, I felt truly safe. "It's not your time," he said, his voice resonating within my very being. "Your wealth is not in what you have, but in what you give. Go and tell them. Go and show them that true wealth is love." With those words, I felt a violent pull, as if a cosmic rope had latched onto my soul. I was yanked backward, back into the swirling tunnel, the angelic choir fading, the blinding light receding. I shot through the darkness at an impossible speed, a sense of falling, of crashing, and then a gasp. My eyes flew open. The sterile smell of a hospital, the rhythmic beeping of a machine, not a flatline, but a steady pulse. My pulse. My family was crowded around the bed, their faces a mixture of shock and joyous disbelief. My wife gripped my hand, her tears now of relief. I was back, and I was a new man. The change wasn't gradual. It was immediate, absolute. The first thing I did was sell everything. The penthouse, the Lamborghini, the yachts, the stocks. It all went. I sought out the homeless man I had once ignored, not just giving him money, but helping him find a home, a job, and his dignity back. We became friends. The vast sums from my liquidated empire were poured into orphanages, food banks, and shelters. I used the rest to start a free rehabilitation center for those struggling, a place of hope built from the ashes of my greed. 3 years have passed. My life is unrecognizable. There are no boardrooms. No billion-dollar deals. My home is a simple house with a small porch. My evenings are spent not chasing markets, but watching the sunset, my wife's hand in mine, a quiet, peaceful smile on my face. I was a millionaire, but I was broke. Now I have almost nothing, and I've never been richer. What Jesus showed me can change your life too. If this story touched you, please share this video. Maybe it will reach someone who needs to hear it, someone chasing the wrong kind of wealth. Thank you for listening!